You have kids who just started elementary school, maybe kindergarten, first or second grade, and you're shocked about the amount of activities they have and even homework. How do you go about balancing everything after school and their sleep needs? It's a little bit of a puzzle, am I right? Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sarah Bossio, and I am the lead pediatric sleep expert and owner of Your Zen Baby Sleep. Most of the time, you will hear me here on this channel talking about babies, toddlers, and preschooler sleep. However, I do work with big kids as well because their sleep is important. And I'm really excited to talk a little bit about how to balance sleep for big kids today. The really cool part about having big kids, having kids in school, is that you don't have to worry about nap schedules anymore, right? And you probably have a really independent sleeper, so they're sleeping in their own room. They probably don't need a lot of assistance in going to sleep, and you may even be shocked that their bedtime is a little bit later, so you don't need to be committed to a 7:30 bedtime and you need to, give up all of the really fun dinner plans because your kid needs to be home for bedtime. There's a lot of advantages to having a big kid. However, on the other end of this, once they start elementary school, you start to notice that there's just tons of activities and a lot of stuff begins to pile up. They want to do everything. You feel guilty for not signing them up for everything. And next thing you know, it's November, and every single day you've booked yourself solid with gymnastics and with soccer and with Boy Scouts and with XYZ. And it seems like you're not sitting down at the dinner table until 7:45 at night. And then you figure out that you have 3 homework sheets. How do you balance it all? Let's talk about a sustainable way to make sure that you can get everything done, also prioritizing sleep without driving you insane. Structure is going to be your best friend. And I know that's really hard to be able to achieve all of the time. So I want you to give yourself grace. However, the biggest piece of advice for your family is going to be to set your week ahead. I am not going to give you any piece of advice that I would not be able to follow myself. So the one thing that drives me absolutely crazy is like meal prepping advice. Just meal prep. Spend your whole day on Sunday in meal prep so that you can go and just microwave your meals and have the dinner ready. I personally would not love to spend my Sunday, my one of 2 days off, meal prepping so that I could have dinner ready for my family Monday through Friday, to be honest with you. However, that is something that you might consider if it serves you and if that would make your weeks easier, and if you enjoy meal prepping or were able to find a way to do it quicker than I would be able to do it. Something that works for me that doesn't take up so much time is just having a family calendar. I don't have one of those crazy skylights. I don't have one that's on a wall. We just use a simple Google Calendar that's shared between my husband and I. We color code it with my activities, my girls' activities, and my husband's activities so that we're able to really see exactly who needs to be where and at what times. And then what we can do is, as we plan out our week and when we know what days our dinners need to be and at what times, I understand exactly what our nights are going to look like, and I understand when I'm going to have time to have extra time for homework and when I'm going to have time where it might be more condensed. Really setting aside this time on Sundays, and I'm talking like 20 minutes, it really doesn't have to be this huge, long, drawn-out planning session, makes such a difference in the course of our week. I have really noticed a difference in being able to work together as a team also with my husband and saying, hey, I want to make sure that whatever activities we do schedule, if we cannot tag team them, so if you're not going to be able to take on some of the transportation to the activities and it's just going to be me, we have to cut down on some of them. We have to start saying no. That's something that took me about 2 years to be able to figure out because I was officially becoming my kid's Uber driver and I couldn't handle it any longer. So we have scaled back on the amount of activities that the girls do in an effort to prioritize the sleep. So as a result of my husband really saying, you know what, realistically, I really can't take some of the after school stuff because work is longer than I really expected it to be. It's all good. So we have to say no. Saying no is okay. You don't have to be involved in everything. You do have family time that does need to be a priority. After school activities and sports at the age of 7 or 8 don't need to be number one in your life right now. All right, so let's talk about logistics. I am going to walk through a typical after school afternoon and give you some examples of how to really prioritize an activity, a dinner time, a bedtime, as well as filtering in homework somewhere so that we can really get your kids in bed at a reasonable hour to prioritize their sleep. So I'm imagining that you might have an after-school activity that lasts about 1 hour long, and then you have transportation that's about a half-hour round trip to and from, right? If you do not have any time beforehand to get anything done, right? So there is really no time to squeeze in any homework before or after that activity, and there's really no time to prep any dinner before or after that activity. It is all good. I want you to make sure that you have some type of to-go snack planned so that you can throw a granola bar at your kid in the car, go to the after-school activity, have them enjoy, come home. While you are cooking dinner, that is when I want homework to be done. I want to be multitasking in that moment so that you are cooking, you're there to assist your child with the homework. In the younger elementary school ages, in that kindergarten, first, second grade area, it's not likely that the homework is going to be too challenging for you to be able to understand, and they are probably not going to have a lot of homework, right? So it might be 2 or 3 pages that is just working on basic skills. After you prep the dinner, I want the dinner to be served, and then I really just want to kind of keep it going. So we're gonna go right from dinner to bath time. After they take a bath, that's when I want everybody to kind of be given that veg time. This is when I'm kind of going to change it up from what I usually recommend with my younger kids. You're going to put them in front of the TV. Everybody needs a little bit of time to relax. Give them some screen time. Give them some time to play. Everybody needs to just chill out. Have some one-on-one connection time with them maybe, and maybe that actually looks like everybody sitting in the living room on the couch and watching a show together. And then from there, that's where you can end up doing bedtime. Remember, because your kids are a little bit older, they can have a little bit of a later bedtime. So this might look like bedtime starting at 8 o'clock, and then maybe they're not actually getting lights out until 8:30, which is fine. The advantage that you have is that elementary school doesn't start until a little bit later. So they might not wake up until 7 or 7:30. They're still getting their recommended 11 hours of sleep. And you're right in the range of being able to kind of fit everything into that one afternoon without really killing yourself. I don't think this would be sustainable if you did this rush every single day. So again, I really want to make sure that you're prioritizing the activities that are important for you. I really want to make sure that you're prioritizing the activities that your child really, really likes and that you can easily bring them to and get back home from so that you're not breaking your back. It's really not something that is essential at this age. It's really important still that you are allowing them that downtime at home and still allowing them the amount of time that their body needs to be able to rest in the evening hours. I also want you to take time about every quarter during the school year to reassess this. So make sure that you are constantly reassessing how your family is doing with your schedule. So don't be like me and wait 2 years to reassess if it's working. I was driving myself into a hole when I finally realized I can't do this any longer. I am literally killing myself by shuffling my kids from activity to activity to activity and eating dinner out of Tupperware in the car all together and realizing for what? Like, my 7-year-old is not going to the Olympics for gymnastics. This is a little crazy. So when I pulled back and when I started saying no, I felt so liberated and everybody in the house felt so much calmer. My child felt calmer. It feels really good to have 2 full days after school where there is nothing planned. And then we have 3 days after school where both of my kids actually do have activities. So it freed up a day where my little one now can actually do stuff because guess what? She wasn't able to do as much because we were constantly running the older one around. Now I have time to run the little one around. And that's okay, right? So really take a step back quarterly to see exactly what is the priority for you, how you are responding, how your kids are responding, and how it's working into your sleep schedule and your dinner schedule and your family's schedule as a whole. All right, so this was a little bit different than what I usually do in terms of sleep advice. So tell me how it was. I would love to know. Leave me a comment on your way down. Leave a like so I know if you've enjoyed this. Turn on notifications, subscribe so that you can know when I release my latest sleep content. I would so appreciate it. And as always, from my living room to yours, thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see you next time.